You are watching the GameThreads.com Clan Invitational, cast by myself, Totalbiscuit. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SHOUTcraft right here. Underdark in the... Is the dirty blue again? Oh, just not a fan of that colour, whatever. It's just so not in, darling. Whatever the case, Underdark in the bluish trunks playing Protoss for Team Virus versus Sjow in the red trunks playing Terran for Team Dignitas. Sjow is really, really good. I can't remember. Yeah, Underdark, I'm fairly sure, is really awesome as well. He played in, was it Virus versus Millennium, I think. And he, I'm pretty sure, was incredibly dominant. So, big hitters for both. No question about that. But Sjow, I would think, has the edge, certainly in competitive experience right here. So, we will see what's going on. So, and it is a Terran versus Protoss, which is good. Because I know a lot of you, TVT, don't like TVT. I can understand why you don't like TVT. Because TVT, to me, sort of signifies, unless you do something like selected in that first game, build tanks. You must have tanks in TVT in order to win, which is, in my experience, mostly the case. I was trying to perfect on my pathetic silver-laddered character the strategy of the 3 barracks through to Marines, Marauders, Medivacs, and as it turns out, that doesn't work very well against tanks, unless you, of course, avoid the tanks entirely and drop them into the back of the base. But it's a very simple principle, a very Silver League principle, but it still applies. Select didn't, for some reason, go for that. I don't know why, but there you go. Again, some players have their off days. It's just the way of it. Doesn't mean they are bad players. There are so many players who have their off days. Now, it is very stressful playing this in a competitive environment, and I think spectators don't always seem to realize that, if I'm totally honest with you, and I do find it a little bit distasteful. Oh, that player's so terrible. Oh, please. I tell you what, that player would kick your ass, and you know it. Don't break out crap like that. It's so incredibly disrespectful. People have off days, and indeed just off games. Sometimes people just aren't playing at their best. Underdark with a pylon, no big surprise. It is Protoss after all. Good little placement right there, though. Gives himself a nice little bit of flexibility. Cybernetic score going down. No 2-gateway pressure. Not that that would really work out so well, if I'm honest. Much better against Zerg, in my opinion. Much better against Zerg. Whatever the case. Marines rolling out. Nothing crazy for Sjow as of yet. Very standard Terran opening. Terran players, take note, if you don't know your openings, this is the way to look at it. Straight into a factory. Now, if I remember correctly, Sjow is a big fan of Hellion drops. He can make an awful mess of people with blue flame Hellions, so we'll see if he decides to continue with that particular strategy. If not, of course, he can go straight through to the starport after that, and then have all manner of crazy, wonderful things he can do. It's a variety pack, folks, or a selection box. If you happen to be in the UK, you probably know what a selection box is. If you're in the States or anywhere else, you probably don't. It's a box of chocolates, basically, with a bunch of different kinds of chocolate in it, but usually a selection box is like full bars of chocolate in a big box. It's usually sold for Christmas for kids and things like that. Nice little bit of variety. Sometimes you find things in the selection boxes you don't like. For instance, Crunchies. Not a fan of that. Hellion coming out. Second factory, double Hellion by the looks of it build here. Yep, we've seen this from Sjow before, at least you might have seen it. As far as I remember, he actually pulled this on TLO at one point, and it did work quite well. Robotics facility coming up right now for Underdark, which is, of course, very, very good indeed. Against Protoss, it's a bit risky because Stalkers take them out very well, but you never know. There you go. Stalker already on the field, harassing that Hellion. Going to take good damage. But that's not all Sjow has at his disposal, as you can quite clearly see. Draws him up the ramp. Very nice little dupe there. Dupes his opponent into coming up the ramp and then loses a Zealot for free. Sjow continues along. Are we going to see any more Hellions, though? Tech Lab down. Infernal Pre-Igniter is very likely. But then again, he is building Siege Tank. Could go for both. You never know. No Siege Tech coming up as of yet. Has the money for Infernal Pre-Igniter. Hasn't started it as of yet. Playing a little bit flexible. Of course, needs a Siege Tank if he's going to deal with those Stalkers. You see that right into the corner there. Not the best harassment ever with that Hellion. Again, shut down very effectively by Underdark Stalkers right there. And Underdark with a very quick Observer out as well. Could be a little bit problematic for Sjow. No big surprises coming in from Sjow, perhaps. Still no Infernal Pre-Igniter. Double Hellions coming out. Siege Tanks as well. An interesting mix. Very much mechanized play with a few Marines in there for good measure. Was that Infernal Pre-Igniter? It could have been. He just cancelled it very rapidly, though. Maybe, just maybe. Oh, wow, that's very quick. Very quick there. Underdark all the way through to Colossus. A smart move. Very smart move. Again, against heavy siege tank play, though, it's not going to work out so well. Underdark's going to spot this. He's going to be a tad confused as to exactly what's going on here. It's like, oh, this is really heavy mechanized play with a lot of Hellions and a lot of siege tanks. What am I going to do here? Another reactor coming up right there. 4 Marines. Marine, siege tank, Hellion. An intriguing mix. And a potentially effective one. Bear in mind, though, Underdark does have some units coming out. Show's still sort of stuck on one base right here. Be quite reliant on that pressure. He does have the money if he wants to expand, but I don't think he's going to do that quite yet. Still no sign of the Infernal Pre-Igniter. Pumps all of his money into, yeah, more Hellions. There we go. There's the expansion. 4 Hellions on the field, backed up by 3 siege tanks and 10 Marines. Versus an Immortal. Ooh, God, that's a foregone conclusion, isn't it? Holy hell. He's got a good potent force going on right here. I don't see what he's going to be able to stop it with, if I'm honest. He's going to have to get some very quick warp ins. Again, that Colossus is now coming out, but as a result of that, he really, really delayed. I mean, he's only just got his 3rd gateway. 2 gateway into Colossus. It seems to not be so wise, if I'm honest, against Sjow. Now Sjow, with a commanding lead, that Nexus is going to take for free, no problem at all. Underdark is going to have to hold out and wait for that Colossus. Colossus will be on the field pretty shortly. Shjow's happy with that, though. He just took 400 minerals from his opponent and denied his expansion. How can he not be happy? Starpod on the way as well. Drops are a very real possibility coming in. Siege tanks as well. Hellions. Big mix. Very good mix. And honestly, come to think of it, it's a very effective combo. Seems to work very well. Gives you a good mix of mobility and firepower. Good mix against armored and light units. Good little meat shield if you need it. He's got 8 Hellions on the field right now. Still no Infernal Pre-Igniter. Again, kind of confusing, honestly. I mean, he could have researched that quite a long time ago. But, yeah, Infernal Pre-Igniter is quite pricey. It's only really effective once you get yourself into the mineral line. I mean, as regards to light units, Underdark doesn't have an awful lot of them. He's Stalker, Immortal, a Colossus. Hellion out there for scout. Where is the Colossus? There you go. Nice little ball coming in, but I'm not convinced it's going to be enough, if I'm honest. Because that siege tech's probably going to be there. 30 more seconds. Oh, he's going to get in there a little bit before it, unless he gets slowed up. You see Sjow deliberately trying to hold him back there. Missile turret up there to deal with the Colossus. Very nice indeed. Double supply depot simply to block off that particular avenue of attack. But, Underdark with the pylon down. But he has delayed. That could be critical. Shjow's going to get the time to deploy that siege tank technology. And then, anything that runs in there is going to take a heavy pounding. Bear in mind, these things pretty damn good against armored units. A lot of damage, a lot of range. And Colossus don't exactly move all that fast. Extended Thermal Lance is up, so he does have a little bit of range. Not as much range as that, though. 13 range on that. 50 damage from the Crucio Shot Cannon to an armored unit. 4, 5 siege tanks in that collection. Yeah, that's going to devastate a Colossus if that lands on it. In fact, I think that actually kills it. Well, he's close enough. There you go, raining fire and fury down on Underdark. No way. Absolutely no way Underdark's going to be able to hold the line there. Needs a few more Immortals in play, if I'm totally honest. Right now, economy-wise, though, Sjow is powering ahead. Nothing that Underdark can do to keep that up. He can place a supply depot there, just keep an eye on things. Underdark pulls back because he just doesn't really have a choice in the matter. 2 more factories coming down right here for Sjow. Full factory play. A lot of crazy stuff going on. Hellion strategy is working very well. It's great to deal with Zealots. Good against Sentries as well, if I recall correctly. Please don't tell me Sentry's an armored unit, or I'm going to look like a complete idiot. Please, yeah, there you go. See, I know what I'm doing. Honest. God. There you go. Underdark. Got his expansion rolling again, but he's lost a lot of units. His income is not so great. 50 Harvesters versus 31 in favor of Sjow. Sjow is just pumping it out right now. So many supply depots. If we have a look at the army count, Sjow is so far ahead as well. 118 supply to 76. Supply blocked himself simply because he is building so much stuff. Just everything he can. Armory coming up as well. Hell, wind up. Might as well. Hellions, 2 Marines. Harassment possibilities. Where is Underdark's force? Oh dear. The majority of Underdark's force is hanging around right there. There was actually no defense of any description around that mineral line. Harassment is extremely likely. Here's your Twilight Council coming up, looking for Blink Stalkers, I would think. However, bear in mind this Observer is well placed, and if Underdark is paying attention, he's going to be able to respond to that quite rapidly. Sjow thinks he's going to take a pylon for free, and he will at some point in the next 5 years. Are we seeing a recall? Is he going to pull back? Did he see that coming in? No sign of it. No sign of spotting that coming in at all. In comes the drop round the back. Again, though, no Infernal Pre-Igniter, so the damage to that mineral line is going to be minimal. However, he does what he sets out to do, which is force Underdark to pull back. Bear in mind, Underdark's got barely any minerals left in that, almost mined out. Forces those Colossi all the way back. This is the thing. A good plan, in fact, a very good plan. If you watched a recent Day 9 Daily as regards to dealing with Duckload. But don't call it that, Sean. It's not Duckload. That's his sponsor. You don't call Hydra EG. Don't call him Duckload. Whatever the case. Love him really. Love him really. Colossi, not very mobile. Problematic. It's like, hey, look, I've got a bunch of Colossi, and I just start building Colossi on one base. Hey, isn't that great? Well, the problem with that is that you can force them to draw back, and that's exactly what's happened right here. Underdark's actually fallen all the way back here, and he's left this base really vulnerable to an attack of freaking everything, which is what I would describe this force, folks. I'm not even going to give you a count right here. This is what I like to call the freaking everything attack. And why? Because it has freaking everything. Look at it. It's a Swiss Army knife style attack. Look at all this stuff. It's like, yeah, we're just going to build everything. Why not? There you go. Sir. We seem to have unlimited resources. What should we do? Well, I'm going to build my strategy that's called Build Freaking Everything. Yes, there we go. Vikings on the way as well. Shut those Colossi down. And, oh dear, Immortal is the only thing that could possibly survive firepower like that, and he knows it. Our cruisers cannot repel firepower of this magnitude. Into the line it goes with the Hellions. They're going to get sliced up by those Colossi, but he knows what's there. Drawing them all the way back. Sjow, you sneaky little bugger. That's what he looks for. See what he does? Draws them back into the firepower of those siege tanks and takes a few stalkers for free in the process. Oh, that has got to sting the pocketbook. In the meantime, Psionic Storm on the way, which I'm not entirely convinced is going to do the job. In we go, folks. Massive aggression coming in right here from Sjow. Takes a Colossus, loses a couple of Hellions, no big deal. Marines continue to push their way forward. Can he take the Immortal? Needs to take the Immortals. Immortal's biggest threat right now in that army against those tanks, and not a lot of Marines left for Sjow. Sjow needs to continue to reinforce that. He's got a Thor. Doesn't have strike cannons, though, so again, not going to slice his way through those Immortals all that well. Losing pylon to pylon is the Underdark, folks. Army count very much in the favor of Sjow. Sjow has twice the amount of supply in the field, mostly at siege tanks, so those Immortals will prove to be invaluable. But there becomes a point, folks, where the Immortal shields just can't deal with firepower of that magnitude. It's just the way that it works, folks. Massive shelling coming in right here on the Protoss base. It is melting. It is melting. What is he going to do to respond to that? Kadir Amulet coming up right here. Does he even have any Templar? He has one High Templar. Thor powers its way through that Colossus. No problem whatsoever. Immortals banging on the armor door of the Thor. Down it goes. In comes the shelling. Immortals are not going to be able to hold that line, though. Marines are available right there. Yes, they have hardened shields, but that is like 18 siege tanks. It doesn't matter at that point. It really doesn't matter. It has 1 HP. It's incredibly lucky to still be alive. Sjow, commanding aggression. 2 more expansions. You can see them on the minimap. I don't need to show them to you. You see what I did there? There you go. Oh, wow. Underdark is getting absolutely annihilated. Good game, ladies and gentlemen. Sjow with a commanding game over Underdark right there with the so many siege tanks approach. I like it. I like it a lot.